Good evening and welcome to North Beat. I'm Eli Kakasaktaktu. A young girl has died after a shooting in Inukjuak, Nunavik, almost 2 weeks ago. The Kativik Regional Government, or known as KRG, confirmed the news today in a statement. The shooting happened on December 20th. KRG says Nunavik police were called to a residence in Inukjuak where they were confronted by an armed man. An exchange of gunfire occurred, which left the gunman and the young girl injured. Both were transported to a Montreal hospital. Quebec's police watchdog BEI and the province's coroner's office are investigating. Sûreté du Québec is conducting a parallel criminal investigation into the incident. According to data from BEI, police officers in Nunavik were involved in 73 times more fatal shootings than the provincial average. The KRG expressed sadness at the young girl's passing in today's statement, calling an innocent victim of such sad tragedy. In the Northwest Territories, the hamlet of Paulatuk has found a simple solution to help hunters stay safer on the land. They are building small bridges across dangerous creeks. It's helping the community adapt to environmental changes caused by climate change. CBC's Sarah Kermalowski brings us the story.
The project is a partnership between the local community corporation and the Hunters and Trappers Committee. So far, Paulatuk has built at least 6 mini bridges. They are simple structures, just wide enough for an ATV, but they're helping to solve a big problem. Diane Rubin had the idea for the project and ran it until recently.
Because of climate change is happening so fast here, our coastal erosions are happening so fast. Within the past 4 years, it's just been getting more and more hillslides, mudslides, slumps, and we find our creeks flooding more and more, becoming mini rivers.
Those changes are creating serious safety hazards for land users. Paulatuk's mayor spoke about the dangers creeks are presenting at a meeting last month.
A number of years back, we had harvesters coming back from a caribou hunt on quads, on bikes in the fall time. And a lot of rain and a lot of running water, a lot of creeks went wild, and 3 of our bikes went into the ocean. Were swept off in the ocean. We're lucky we didn't have any fatalities.
Diane Rubin grew up spending a lot of time on the land, and she now does a lot of harvesting with her own family. This project is a way of ensuring new generations have those opportunities too.
Our ancestors been talking about this, and it's been coming down. Like their stories have been coming down. And they said it'll change and we have to adapt.
Rubin says she would like to see the mini bridge project expand in the future. But right now, the community corporation is working on building 6 or 7 more bridges with their original funding. Sarah Kermalowski, CBC News, Toronto.
Thanks, Sarah. Still in the news, recent satellite images suggest Tasiuyak and Nunavik could have higher tides than the Bay of Fundy, but Fisheries and Oceans Canada says it has no immediate plans to make a true comparison between the two sites. CBC's Samuel Watt explains.
These satellite images from the Canadian Space Agency show the dramatic contrast between high and low tide at Burnt Coat Head in the Bay of Fundy. Compare that to these ones, taken of Leaf Basin near Tasiuyak.
The Bay of Fundy is a large funnel-shaped embayment in the same way as Ungava Bay is sort of a U-shaped basin.
It's close, but the agency's Dirk Vellner says Tasiuyak might edge it out.
They generate very, very high tides on the order of 15 to 16 meters. Incredible, incredible.
This analysis was spurred by a study by Makavik, the organisation representing Nunavik Inuit, which stated Leaf Basin is the rightful owner of the title. Fisheries and Oceans Canada is the one to analyse those claims. It plans to review Makavik's study next spring, but it will need to measure water levels at both locations over the same time frame to make a true comparison, and has no immediate plans to do so.
They have not acknowledged any of our data.
Makavic's Adami Delisle Alaku says he's frustrated at a lack of communication from DFO. He says several studies over the decades have been dismissed. In one instance, a study wasn't conducted long enough, but he says Makavic is continuing its measurements in collaboration with the feds.
We're not looking at it as a rivalry or a competition. We just want recognition of facts.
So they can finally put the matter to bed. Samuel Watt, CBC News, Yellowknife.
Thanks, Samuel. Still in the news, many communities across Nunavut and Nunavik are under blizzard and wind warnings as a massive storm system sweeps through the regions. Environment and Climate Change Canada says the storm is unusually large. The agency says while the storm is expected to begin losing strength, strong winds will continue overnight and people are advised to take shelter and avoid travel.
It's just swung up, gathered some more steam, and really hitting all of these places really, really hard. So if there's no blizzard warning out, which most communities have blizzard warnings out, then there's blowing snow and wind advisories as well. So everybody's kind of getting in on that action.
Lang says the storm system is also responsible for unusual warmth being felt in Iqaluit. The community saw a high of 5 degrees today with rain. Temperatures are expected to return to seasonal norms once the system moves out. Lang says some storms are expected to settle down by Friday. After Christmas, blizzards shut down road access to one community in the Northwest Territories. Highway 10 from Inuvik to Tuktoyaktok is now fully open. That's according to Mayor Erwin Elias. He says the road opened a couple days after Christmas. While the community waited for their road to reopen, people were left waiting for Christmas mail and gifts to arrive, and the store shelves were almost stripped clean. Elias says shelves are stocking back up now, but there are new challenges to face.
You know, right now, like, there's people that are still waiting at the post office because, I mean, you know, that there was a pile of mail and parcels that everything came in at once. So, you know, I know there's people that are still waiting for some mail.
Elias says he's waiting for some mail himself, new parts for his snowmobile. Yukon's recent cold snap affected a lot of people's day-to-day activities, from broken down cars to energy problems. Some business owners were forced to shut down until the weather warmed up, but livestock farmers don't have that choice. They have to keep working even when the temperatures drop below negative 40 degrees Celsius. Isabella Calisi has more on how farmers are affected during a deep freeze.
Your ventilation, your temperatures, egg production, feed, how much feed's in the bins, static air pressure, how much they've eaten.
Over the last couple of weeks, Alan Stannard has been awake at all hours of the day and night, monitoring his 4,400 chickens. He gets a notification on his phone whenever something in the barn seems off. This can be anything from the heat failing to the vents freezing up. Stannard says a lot of their equipment was affected during Yukon's cold snap earlier in December, where temperatures reach below minus 30 degrees Celsius for many days. He says usually the equipment has time to acclimatize to the chill.
You get a buildup of humidity, and so you're burning more propane to keep that warm, and then you're also exhausting that humidity through the fans out the top. And so, yeah, it's a balance, right? And that balance goes 24/7. And even with the computers, we do a lot of manual manipulations of the ventilation system to make sure that, the birds aren't getting that chill and they're not getting that shock of heat.
Stannard says if the conditions in the coop aren't right, not only can egg production be reduced, but diseases can affect the birds. He says no birds have died due to the cold. According to livestock technician Amber Elliott, animal deaths in the winter due to the freezing temperatures aren't necessarily common, but often underlying health issues in animals tend to come to light due to stress.
And that stress can result from cold or the fact that they're not eating or drinking as well as they should because it's cold. So as soon as a body becomes stressed and if there is an underlying issue, that's when you're going to see that become prevalent.
She says the best way to get through the winter as a livestock farmer is to make sure you have everything prepared before the cold strikes. This includes keeping your water heated and having backup generators on site in case of emergencies. Isabel Cleese, CBC News, Whitehorse.
This month, Nunavut RCMP got a new commanding officer, Kenton Pike. Chief Superintendent Pike takes leadership of the RCMP after more than 20 years of serving in the North. Igalak host Teresa Ketchuk sat down with him to hear about his priorities and plans.
In 2020, there were 150 RCMP officers in Nunavut. 5 of them were Inuk. That's 3.3% of the total force. Today, there are 157 RCMP officers in Nunavut, and only 4 of them are Inuk, 2.5%. Why has the RCMP not been able to increase the representation of Inuit amongst its ranks?
So good question, Teresa. The biggest thing, and to answer, why we haven't, I could tell you that it's not from lack of trying. I know when you look at the numbers, or you hear the numbers, it's a low number. It's one of those things where we constantly have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what that may be. And it's something that I'm committed to doing now, because I'm not the first commanding officer of this territory that has been trying to increase this. Yes, I'm new to the role, but it's one of those, there's a variety of reasons that I wouldn't be able to pinpoint an exact answer for you without looking at the situation, but it's something that I think I cannot do alone. So I need to work with other organizations here in the territory, such as NTI and even the Department of Justice, where we can come together and the leadership from all 25 communities in this territory to find out what we can do to bring that number up.
What do you think needs to be done to improve the relationship between the RCMP and Inuit?
So that's a great question, and it's I'm not going to sit here and say that we've had a great relationship, and there's history, and with any history there's mistakes made, but the way I look at it is how we learn from those mistakes, right? Again, I don't have all the answers, but what I do have is that experience and openness. It's willing to work with people, right? I've worked here now close to 3 years, and you can see what the culture and history mean to people. I want my members to feel the same thing. That's the first step, and then how they understand why, because we are dealing with people majority of the time in crisis, people that need help. So if we understand, it could be just something as simple of knowing that person's family history that helps de-escalate situations. That to me is the first priority, that I want more people to be culturally aware, more involved in the community, and understanding the residents in which we're here to serve and help. The language piece then becomes after that part, right? That's the thing that I'm committed to as the commanding officer of this territory, to come up with a solution and see how we can improve upon that. I think then everything else falls into place, and we eventually get to what I see as my vision, my goal for this territory during my tenure as the commanding officer, is to have that relationship that much better than what it was with the RCMP. I feel we are improving on that relationship, and that's why it goes back to my vision: accountability and transparency. I want people to know that they can trust the RCMP.
Is it time to do something fundamentally different? The NTI released a report earlier this year calling for an Inuit-led police force. Would you support that?
I mean, I'm open to supporting anything, and that really we want what's best for the residents of all the people of the territory of Nunavut. What I can say though is that on top of that is I know that we as the RCMP have been here a long time in this territory, but I know that we could do better in serving that. You know, too often we have, you know, we hear about the negative things that came out of some situation where we as the RCMP were involved. I can tell you with confidence that there are so many great positive stories, and I'm confident that if we spoke with the leadership of all 25 communities, you're going to hear about the great things that each member is doing. I know when I see in our monthly reporting all the great community involvement that our members are doing, and we mean a lot to each community other than just being police officers, right? So I know that, and I can say that with confidence, that I'm open to working with NTI because that's a huge undertaking. Like, to get into the inner workings of what it would take for the police force, that's not for me to comment on. However, what I'm open to and 100% committed to is working with organizations such as NTI to say, well, what can we do better to make you feel like we're giving the right service to the residents of Nunavut? And that's one thing that I feel we can do, we can continue to do, and I look forward to being the person that's pushing that change.
What about bringing back the Inuit Special Constables? That recommendation has been made by various people, including an advisor hired by the RCMP. Will you reinstate them?
That's one of the suggestions, Teresa, exactly when I talk about thinking not necessarily outside the box, but it's an option available to us. People that, you know, they don't necessarily want to become a regular member, but I could be a special constable and provide the same amount of service. So it is at the top of our list. We are looking at bringing that back and finding ways to bring it back. I know we are supported by a contract partner to bring it back. So it really comes down to then, how do we fulfill these roles successfully with the right people and getting it out there, the education piece is for people that have an interest of what exactly these positions do. So yes, we are looking at that and hopefully are bringing that back in the near future.
We want to give you the opportunity to speak directly to our audience. Many Inuit are uncomfortable with or don't trust RCMP. What can you tell our audience will be different under your leadership?
I'm going to take the stance, and this again, it starts at the top, and I expect my membership to do the same. We are here to help people. And I said this earlier, if you're not comfortable in dealing with, because again, it's difficult. It's difficult to go, if you don't feel safe, you're just dealing with the same two members. I want to have an option available to you where you can reach out to someone other than the two people there. I do not want any concern to go unchecked. And if the majority of the time we will have an answer, people will be held accountable, and then we can improve upon that process. Because as I mentioned, we are doing great work. And I'd like to think that majority of people would want the RCMP in their community. I want everyone to think that. And that starts with that we take every concern seriously, and we're going to continue to do that. I'm going to come up with solutions that people can reach out to whoever, someone in the RCMP, and then we can fix anything that is wrong. And I have no problem sharing information with people that we can share with people so that everyone has that full picture and understanding, because it's really about working together, and that's my main priority.
Thank you for this opportunity and for your time, Chief Superintendent.
No, thank you.
The 2026 World Junior Hockey Championships continue today. Some fans from the Yukon have made the trip to Minneapolis to take in the tournament. That includes one super fan from Whitehorse, who says there's no place he'd rather be. George Meritos reports.
There we are. Awesome.
Oh, I thought that was
awesome.
Cody Wilkinson is what you'd call a rabid hockey fan. It's almost impossible to find a word that describes just how deep his love of the game goes. This store in Whitehorse is where he spends a good chunk of his time doing a lot of this.
We went there. Oh, Zane Perek.
Oh, that's a good one.
This is a different card. Look at this one.
Or who's
No,
that?
this,
No.
This Perret.
Oh, yeah.
He also has a lot of these.
So yeah, this is 2010 Olympic.
Yep, that was a good year. He takes this hobby seriously, even customizing some jerseys.
Yeah, I put that patch on there just because
I
if
love
you watch
that.
the movie, you could see Dallas.
Over, under. If I threw out the number, like 20 jerseys, over that? Do you have more than 20?
Oh no, it's a little bit more than that.
Like
So,
50? More than 50?
Last time we counted was maybe, I want to say 70.
This is another testament to Wilkinson's
So like
love
this,
of the
this
game.
first one, I was so
Since 2012, he's traveled across Europe and North America to cheer on Team Canada at various international tournaments. These ticket stubs, part of his vast collection, a reminder of where he's been.
It's almost like, you know, like when people have a hobby, you know, this is like kind of my hobby and stuff, and what am I gonna do for my time off? Like I just plan it each year for the World Championships or the World Juniors where I could take time off from work and then go do that.
This year, Wilkinson has even more incentive to lean into his love of Team Canada and international hockey. That's because a Yukon-born hockey phenom is one of the players leading the team. Gavin McKenna was born in Whitehorse and is a Trondaquichin First Nation citizen.
Obviously, we're all proud, you know, but, like, you know, obviously being First Nations, that's just a bigger step towards, you know, like people like, okay, if he could do it, I could do it. And I got a Team Canada jersey made up for him, so I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty excited for this tournament coming up. So,
If Canada does win gold and you see McKenna skating around with that trophy in the air, what will that feel like?
oh no, well obviously, you know, everyone's gonna be excited, but I'll show him like that. I'll be pretty close to the ice, so I can show him the Yukon flag, and hopefully he sees it and stuff. But yeah, I want to get Crosby on here.
George Moratis, CBC News, Whitehorse.
Thanks, George. Still in the news, exercise is key for a happy, healthy life. For one man in Dawson City, Yukon, taking a daily stroll through town is an opportunity for him to connect, not with people, but with ravens, tulugaks. It's a routine that has given him the title Raven Whisperer. Chris McIntyre has more.
Every day around the same time, at the same place, Daniel Vigliotti and his dog Mr. Fox get ready for their walk through town. On this day, the routine is the same. Have a little snack and a short chat while waiting for the rest of the group to arrive. According to Vigliotti, the first to show up is normally Cora. He says the bond between him and Cora formed after an unfortunate incident a few years ago.
It actually looked like it could have been potentially a fox bite. But regardless, it was an infected hole in the side of her head. I thought, I'd never touched them at this point. But she was calm enough around me that I thought, I need to clean that wound. So once I got her calm, she's taking the things from my hand. I got this wetted thing in peroxide. I'm like, this is going to be so hard.
But as hard as it was, Vigliotti managed to clean the wound. That's when word got around to the Corvid community.
All the others seeing that happen, my intentions were clear to them. To her, my role became clear. The other ones, though, knowing I favor her, that's how I formed the posse.
That posse consists of anywhere between 12 to 25 ravens. They'll follow Vigliotti wherever he goes. He'll occasionally stop to give them some food or even for a quick game of fetch. Vigliotti says the bond he's formed with his flock is unlike any relationship he's had with people.
Well, I struggle with human interaction, but I'm pretty clear on my understanding of what goes on in human interaction. I understand why we do what we do, how we behave socially. It's all right. It's not that much of interest to me, though. I've been there, done that. I'm not into it. But watching them, it's an unknown. Watching them is a learning thing.
I went on a walk with Vigliotti and his flock, and I was amazed at the way that he could tell each individual raven apart just by their traits and the sounds that they made. Me, to be honest, I couldn't tell the difference between one or the other. But one thing that I did feel was the energy that they had when they were all together. They could understand each other in a deeper way than words could ever express. Vigliotti, he called it love.
It's love without the clutter of fear and greed, and that's all there is to it. And so if I get up in the day and I go for my walk and I'm surrounded by the ravens the whole time, and then I go home, my cup is full.
Chris McIntyre, CBC News, Dawson City.
Thanks, Chris. Before we finish off the show, let's go to Higalak's first ever host, Rashi Neshalik, has been appointed to the Order of Canada. The order recognizes Canadians who've made extraordinary contributions for the country. Nesalik's appointment honors her work informing Nunavummiut and Nunavimmiut and helping preserve Inuit language and culture. Nesalik says she was shocked by the announcement. She hosted Igalak for 18 years. She says her heart was telling her to help Inuit understand what was happening in the world around them and to do it all in Inuktitut. She says one of her proudest moments was covering the first ever Nunavut election after it became a territory separate from the NWT. That is North Beat for tonight. For news anytime, head to cbc.ca/north. Thanks for watching. I'm Eli Kakasirtaktu. We wish you the best in 2026. Happy New Year!